Hey guys, it's Jessica and today I have a dupes video. I've been planning this video for a few months. I've done quite a few dupes videos on my channel, but I always like to take my time and be really thoughtful about them. So I will link my past dupe videos below. But if you don't know what a dupe is, it's basically a cheaper version of a more expensive product. Sometimes it's a dupe because of the shade. Sometimes it's a dupe because of the formula. So for this, I've got a really solid mix of dupes here, almost an entire face worth. Half of my face today is drugstore makeup and half of it is high-end. While I'm explaining these products and sharing their prices, etc., I will be showing you me applying them at the same time. So that way you can really see them in action. And you'll also get to see how they last throughout the day because I'll be doing check-ins at the end of this video throughout my day today. It's 12:33 right now, my time. Not that it matters because you're watching this whenever you're watching it. But anyway, it's 12:33 here and I'm gonna be going out. We're gonna go shopping. We might go out to dinner tonight. So I'm gonna be checking in throughout the day so you can see how both of them are wearing as well. So if you're interested in that portion of this, definitely stay tuned to the end of the video. Before we go farther, I hope that you'll subscribe and stick around. I love doing drugstore and high-end videos on my channel. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm gonna give you a second, make a guess, go comment below. Which side do you think is high-end and which side do you think is drugstore? I'll give you a second. Okay, no cheating. You can't just fast forward and then find out. Let's start with what I started with today, which was primer. I have found a dupe for the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer. This retails for $42, and the dupe I found is the NYX Hydra Touch Foundation. And as you watch me apply these, they are a very similar consistency, a kind of a light blue, almost gel-like primer. And the NYX one, however, is only $14. You're saving a ton of money. And the NYX one actually comes with 1.05 ounces, where the Smashbox one comes with 1 ounce. So you get a little bit more, not that that's that big of a difference, but you get more for way cheaper. They're so hydrating. For me, I've got, I would say, normal to dry skin, dry in the winter, kind of normal right now, but I do still get a little bit of dry skin sometimes around my eyes, on my nose, up here in my, really my T-zone region. So these are a lifesaver for me because I can put a moisturizer on and then put these on, and I just feel like it helps my foundation stay put, but also hydrated so it's not looking all cracked and gross throughout the day. And obviously now that you've seen the first one, you know that this side of my face is the high-end. This side is drugstore, so let's keep going. For foundation, I just applied my CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir on all of my face. I'm doing a review today, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. But that's what's on my face currently, and I used my little, I ended up using my Flower Beauty Sponge, which I love. This is not a dupe or anything. These are just, although totally like beauty blender status, this is like crazy nice. So anyway, regardless, that's what I have on my face if you were curious. My next dupe I'm very excited about. One of my favorite high-end products is the Bobbi Brown Corrector, and I use the shade Light Bisque. This is $27, and it's just a really peachy shade that I like to put on my inner corner, and it just kind of brightens the area, gets rid of some dark circles, and I just like it. It's a very emollient, but not too emollient concealer, so it actually stays in place. Well, I recently picked up the Pixi by Petra, which you can find at Target and online. It's their Correction Concentrate and Brightening Peach. Now, I do think there's a tiny bit of a shade difference. Of course, the Bobbi Brown ones come in a bunch of shades. The Pixi ones only come in a couple, but these are pretty close. So as you watch me apply them, when I put the Pixi one on, I do feel like the Pixi one doesn't blend as easily as the Bobbi Brown one, and I'm sure that's a formula difference. But the Pixi one is $12 versus $27, and the Pixi one comes with 3 grams, whereas the Bobbi Brown only comes with 1.4. So you're getting more than double the amount for more than half the price. So, or less than half the price. More than half, you know what I mean. It's half and a little bit more. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I'm thinking even though it is a little bit harder to work with, it's still not hard to work with. So when I'm comparing them, I just think to myself, I mean, really, you're getting even more and it's the same after effect. And I would just add that I think the Pixi one's a little tiny bit thicker, and that's why it's a little bit harder to blend in. I do find that my fingers do the best job with both products at blending them in versus a sponge or a brush. I just feel like it sinks in just a little bit more flawlessly. So the next one is one of my favorite products. Again, this is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. And this is $26. You get 4 grams. You do get a good amount of product for an under eye setting powder, in my opinion. It is smaller than like the traditional Laura Mercier powder that I also love. This is meant to be used under your eye, typically over concealer. It helps to set your concealer so that it doesn't crease as much and that it stays in place, but also it helps brighten the area. So it kind of has multi-uses in that way. Well, e.l.f. has had their HD under eye setting powder out for a long time. This is $3 versus $26. Now, I was trying to find how many grams because it doesn't say on here and it doesn't say on their website, but I would bet that it's maybe 1 or 2 grams, no more than that. So you are getting more product with this, but for $3, it's not enough more that it makes the price jump worth it, because these are very, very similar. They're both incredibly finely milled. You can see as I apply them, they really do have the same effect. As I look at myself in the viewfinder, I don't feel like I can see a noticeable difference enough to pay for this again when I run out. Does that make sense? But I do really love it. I think that the e.l.f. one I used to not like because it used to have like this very, very visible shimmer, but I don't know if they've gotten rid of the shimmer or they've made it more finely milled because you can't see it anymore. These both do, I don't want to say they have a glitter in them because they don't. They do have like this kind of quality to them to where it does almost look just a little bit glimmery, and I think that's where the brightening effect comes from, but it also sets that area really well. I love both of these. I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think that the Laura Mercier one might be a little bit more of a pure white. So if you are really, really looking to brighten, that might be just a tinge bit more brightening, but it's very, it's not super obvious. My next one I'm super excited about, and okay, slow down, Jess. So this is the TooFaced Milk Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. This is their lighter version of their Chocolate Soleil. I kind of bounced between, I think I had gotten rid of this before and then they sent it to me again, so I tried it again and I was like, you know what, right now my skin's, my skin's usually pretty fair. And it does work pretty well. These smell like chocolate. The packaging is adorable. It's, pretty nice. So people love this. People love the Chocolate Soleil as well. Well, I had fallen in love with this number 7 bronzer, which, by the way, this is now sold at Ulta. So if you haven't been able to find it, because I bought mine previously at Target, they also sell it at Ulta, so I'll link that below. But this is their bronzer in the shade Golden Sand. Now, when you look at these are pretty close, but I do think it looks maybe like this one's a little bit more warm. I can't even tell. They look the exact same on the skin. So you can see as I'm applying it here that they really look the same. They're both a great option if you do have more fair skin. Now, of course, TooFaced and number 7 both have different shades, so I don't know how similar they are, going back and forth with the shades, but I do know that the formula is very, very similar. It's not a crazy pigmented product, neither one of them, but for me, it's just the right amount that I can't screw it up, because some bronzers are so pigmented that you're just like, oh my gosh, you put it on and you're like, great, now my skin is ruined because I've put like a huge patch here and nothing here. Well, this is really foolproof. So if you're like me and you're not a professional, you would love these bronzers. I just tried to swatch them. You can barely see them in swatches, so it's not even worth showing because they really are meant to be applied with a brush. So the TooFaced one is $30. The number 7 one is $12.99. So it's one of those things that you're paying, again, half the price and you're getting really, I actually think the number 7 packaging might be prettier because they have this beautiful design on the actual bronzer and then it's just so pretty. So it's kind of like, wow, you're paying half the price, but you almost feel like you're getting a nicer product. So my next product is blush, and for this one, I have fallen in love with the MAC blush in Melba. It's truly a classic from MAC. It's a classic shade. So many people love and use this, so many makeup artists, and I get why. It's just a beautiful peach. These are really pigmented, but they also blend really nicely. So I had tried the number 7 again. It's their powder blush in Peach Velvet. And when I first looked at them and when you see the swatch, Peach Velvet looks just a little bit, I don't want to say more pigmented, just a little bit deeper. But when I apply it with a brush, it looks exactly the same. These are both very similar formulas, this very similar staying powder as you'll see as I check in throughout the day, I am sure. And just very, very similar colors. So if you've been dying to try MAC Melba and you don't want to spend $23, you can spend $12.99, a little bit more than half, and get a very, very similar blush. They even have similar packaging, you know what I mean? Actually, I think the number 7 one's just a little bit thinner. So very similar look, both in the actual product and in the packaging, but of course you're saving like 10 bucks. So the next product is a very trendy right now product, and I'm pretty sure it's limited edition. But I was gonna check, but I just looked at the product on Sephora and I didn't see that it said limited edition. Anyway, but I'm almost positive it is. Regardless, it's their Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in Prismatic Amethyst. And you can see why it's really trendy. It's like this lavender, very holographic kind of a highlighter. And of course I'm wearing it today. This costs $38. And I love Becca highlighters, but they are very pricey and there are so many amazing highlighters in the drugstore. You can get them for really cheap. You don't have to pay that much. Well, I recently found the brand Model's Own at Ulta and I did a whole video on a bunch of their products. Some were great, some were terrible. I will link that video below if you're interested because they're all pretty affordable products. It's not a high-end brand, it's more of a drugstore brand. Anyway, I found this highlighter in Peach Pearl and these swatch the same. They look the same on the face. They're very kind of, Peach Pearl is an interesting name because they really are kind of peachy but also purpley. They're really just this really cool highlighter that I really haven't seen done by any other companies. So this costs only $11.99 versus $38. So you're getting a way better deal. And highlighter is something that unless you're using the same one every day for years, you're probably not gonna run out of anytime soon. I would say that maybe the Model's Own one pulls a little bit lighter, but they're so similar and you can't tell the difference on the skin. And if you're wanting to try that kind of fun new highlighter look, but you don't want to spend $40 on it, I would say definitely try the Model's Own. It's very creamy, the packaging's cute, I love the design on the actual powder, it's awesome. So the next dupe that I used today was a dupe for this really expensive $80 eyeshadow palette. It's the Viseart or Viseart, I've heard so many people say it different ways, but it's their neutral matte eyeshadow palette. This has 12 different shades, all matte, all very neutral. And when I came across this hard candy palette, which is $10 at Walmart, and they finally have it available online. I talked about this in some video, and like it wasn't available yet, and a lot of you guys were like, no! I'm like, I promise, it's gotta be coming out soon. Anyway, when I tried this, it really, like instantly when I saw it, I thought, gosh, that looks familiar. And then as I went through my collection, I realized later that, oh, it looks a lot like this. Now, is this an exact dupe shade for shade? No. And I appreciate that because there's so many, I'm so on the fence, but there's so many companies, Makeup Revolution does it. There are a ton. You guys could probably name them right now in the comments. There are a lot of companies that clearly intentionally copy, like shade for shade, certain companies' palettes. And while it's so nice to have affordable ones, and I totally get it, and that's why I'm like, I'm not so against it that I'm not ever gonna try them or buy them or that I don't like those brands. That's not what I mean. But it is kind of nice that hard candy, I don't know if they were actually inspired by this or not. They probably were considering the shades, but really shade for shade, it is not an exact dupe. But there are some very similar shades, and if you were really trying to save money, I mean, $80 is a lot of money. This is $10. You're getting 15 shades, and you're actually getting a little bit more different shades with it. But today, I just used the lightest, like kind of creamy shade in this, and same for this, I used the second one in there, just all over my lid and on my brow bone. And then all I did was I used the blacker color in this on both of these for my lower lash line and kind of smudged this liner. And the only actual color I have on my lid and in my crease is, it's this like light brown color on the Viseart one, and it's this one right here in the hard candy one. And I just put it all over the lid and into the crease. That's it. It's a really simple look, and while I think there are a couple more colors in here that are probably dupes, I just felt like the feel of these palettes were very dupey, and I figured it was worth mentioning because I know a lot of you guys are dying to try this, but it's so expensive. I get it. I mean, it kind of killed me to buy it. I was dying to try it, but I'm like, it's for the greater good. It's to try it out for my channel. But I'm glad that I did because then I could tell you that this really is very similar. These blend really well. I was so surprised. It can be really hard to do matte eyeshadows well, and I feel like they did. Next one that I used was liquid liner. Now, a lot of people rave about the Kat Von D tattoo liner. This is in Trooper. It's the blackest one they have currently. I know she was talking about doing like a more matte, more black one, like she wasn't totally satisfied, but people love this stuff, and I was kind of underwhelmed when I tried it. It's $20 and it has what looks like a felt tip, but it's actually a brush tip. It's just very perfectly made. And I just felt like exactly what she said. It wasn't as black as I was used to. I was used to the Stila Stay All Day liner that I love. Well, I found a better version than that at the drugstore. This is $7.99. It's the NYX Epic Ink liner in black. It's the exact same brush tip. It is even blacker. It stays on all day. I love this. I genuinely love this more than the Kat Von D one. And I'm just so like enthralled because I've tried a lot of drugstore liquid liners and I've liked some here or there, but none of them have rivaled like my Stila one. And I'm like, I don't want to keep paying $20 for a liner that runs out in 3 or 4 months. So for me, I'm like, I want to go to the store and literally buy like 10 of these, just stockpile, just in case something happens and they get rid of it. But I haven't heard anyone talk about this. Maybe I'm just like out of the loop, but I was astounded. I feel like the tip of these is great at doing the wing. It just fills in. You'll see the way I do it is I always like, I kind of tight line and then I put on a gel liner, which I didn't show those steps. But then I go on with liquid liner so I can clean everything up and wing out the edge. And these both do a great job. I just think the NYX one is even better and it's cheaper. Yes. And I just tried to rub them off and they won't come off, so that's great. That sounded sarcastic. That really is awesome. I just need to get makeup remover. By the way, I'm using these Wet n Wild Under the Sheets makeup remover towelettes. There's 10. I did a Dollar Tree haul and Get Ready With Me, which I can also link below, and just trying out products and like genuinely trying to get them to work. And some of them really did work. And this was one that was just $1 I kind of bought, and it removes makeup really, really well. I was very, very surprised. I haven't used them on my face. I just use them to wipe off swatches. So the next dupe is for my favorite mascara I've ever tried in my entire life, genuinely. In all my years on YouTube and all my years before that just trying makeup, it's the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. This instantly, the second you open it, is ready to go. I used it on this eye, but then I found, this by the way is $24. It's an expensive mascara, and mascara, just like liner, you gotta replace every few months, and that stinks because you don't want to spend $24. That's like 4 times a year. That's like $100 on mascara. That's a lot of money for mascara. Anyway, so then I found this Essence Lash Princess. Actually, I misspoke. You guys all told me about it, so then I went and hunted it down. I love it. It's so, so good. It's so similar. This one retails for $4.99, and it's got a very similar brush. I do think it maybe needs like a week to 2 weeks to kind of, you know, air out just a little bit the more you're opening and closing it, because I feel like that's when the formula gets really good. Now, today I used it and it really adds volume, but it's kind of on the cusp of almost being done. So it's almost too dried out, so it clumps just a little bit easier. But when it's in its prime, it is just like this. So don't feel like you need to go spend $24 when you can spend $5 and get the same thing. Gosh, buy a new one every month. It's 5 times 12, so that'd be 60 bucks. It's still cheaper to buy a brand new one every single month than it would be to buy one every 3 months. Okay, so what's on my lips? Half of my lips, literally, is high-end, the other half is not. This is another Kat Von D product, again, that I was kind of underwhelmed by, and I really like Kat Von D, but for some reason, the liquid lipstick, it's in the shade Outlaw. It's not that it's a bad product. I have it running outside my lip line. It's not that it's a bad product, it's just that it was super drying and I didn't feel like it was any better than other ones that were way cheaper, and I think that's why I felt underwhelmed. It's not terrible, it's just really drying, so if you don't mind that, then great. But I prefer like the Ofra liquid lipsticks over this. Anyway, this shade Outlaw is a beautiful red. I really like this shade of red. Well, I bought a bunch of the Wet n Wild liquid catsuits, and these are $4.99. And while it's different, like the sponge tip applicator is different, they're the exact same shade, and I swear to you, they might be the exact same formula. I feel the same way about these. I was so surprised. I was like, wow, these really stay on just as well as this does. You know, it's super pigmented, you only need a thin layer, but they're both really drying. And that's true for most matte liquid lipsticks, so it's not like it's anything that crazy, but for me, I'm just kind of moving out of that stage of my life, the matte, like, it's just too drying for me. But if you don't mind it, these are both really good, but the Wet n Wild is exactly the same, even the shade, right? Like, I went up to my husband and said, can you see any difference between like one side of my lips and the other? He's like, no. Why? I'm like, well, don't worry about it, but just wondering, good. So he can't even tell, the shade is exactly the same. So if you are dying to try Outlaw, just get the Wet n Wild one, it's only $5. They're gonna go bad at the same time, I am sure, so you might as well save money. Okay, so it is 2:54. I'm filming on my phone, so I can't like hold up my phone. I've filmed like a lot of videos, like 5 or 6 videos. So I've been drinking water and tea. You can see on both sides where it's wearing down. I've had a little bit on this side, which is the Kat Von D side, like little like bat wings, and I've had to wipe them away, and not really on this side. I don't know if I like drink awkwardly or what, but that was kind of interesting. I feel like highlight wise, let me get in some natural light here. That might be a little bit more telling. I feel like highlight wise, they look the same. Blush, bronzer, everything still looks really good. I feel like the mascara is holding up really well. Same with the eyeshadow. Nothing really to tell yet, and it's been, what, maybe 3 hours? I'll check back in here in a little bit, and we'll see how it's looking. Okay, so it is 5:44, and I have reapplied the lip stuff both sides twice. And I don't know, just like I said earlier, I just don't like liquid lipsticks. I feel like you constantly have to reapply. It's just not my thing. So I've reapplied twice, and it looks better because I just reapplied. But frankly, I'm just not a fan of either, but I know some people love them. So if you do, I still say go for the cheaper version, but everything else, like the highlight on both sides seems to be looking good. Even the drugstore one, the blush, the bronzer, I feel like eyeliner, I mean like everything. Let's look at the wing here. Can you guys see it? I can't see it. I feel like everything looks pretty good. So I'll check in here in a little while. We're about to go to, oh, there's Tyler. We're about to go to Kohl's.
Wait, is this a picture?
Sure.
Taking a video or a picture?
You act like you've never vlogged before. That's your whole channel. Hey, if you guys don't know, he has a channel, and I will link it below. It's always linked below. Joke's on you. Joke's on who? You? Me?
Is it a funny joke or just a joke?
It's not a real joke. Anyway, so we're going to go to Kohl's because I have some gift cards, and I need some, like, new shorts. What are you looking for?
I don't know.
You're wearing my sunglasses. I know that much.
See what's on clearance. That's all I ever do at Kohl's. Go to that clearance rack.
Everything's on clearance.
They got a 50, 60, and 70% off rack. That's why I go straight there, and that's all.
We'll see what we end up with. Okay, so it is 7:47. I'm heading out into daylight so you guys can really see. Oh, no, now I can't see. Again, you guys know how I feel about the lips, but I feel like the eye look lasted really well. The mascara, it's still, like, curled. The line, I mean, everything. And Pinocchio. Even the highlight, I feel like it's maybe not as strong, but it's definitely still there on both sides. You can still see the blush, the bronzer. Honestly, I kind of feel like the drugstore side is lasting. I don't know. It's hard to say, though. What do you guys think? Because remember, this is the drugstore side. So we are going to eat some dinner here in a bit. We're going to watch more of Stranger Things. We started watching it last night, and it, like, scares me. And I had, like, very lucid, scary dreams. But we're going to try to watch some more of that. So I'll check in here in a little bit. We're probably going to turn in kind of early. We always do. But, so I'll probably wash this off soon. But before I do, I'll be sure to check in before I wash it all off. Okay, it is 9:20. I'm going to go ahead and wash everything off. But I wanted you guys to see, of course, like I said, the lips are what they are. But I really do feel like everything lasted pretty well. It was a pretty warm, kind of humid day today. And, I think like the foundation's starting to come off, but we weren't really testing that, were we? But again, you can still see a little bit of the highlight and the glow, a little bit of the blush, the bronzer. I really think the eye look is the winner though, because I feel like that lasted just all day long. But even still, I feel like some of the color's still there. That's not too bad. Again, verdict's out. I feel like you might as well save the money and do the drugstore because they really wore off the same way. So I'm gonna wash all this off my face, and I'm really excited to take this off my lips. So those are all of my dupes for today. If you have any dupe recommendations, please let us know down below. We can just have a big feeding frenzy of all kinds of dupes because I love hearing about them. I love sharing them with you guys. And I really do like keep a note in my phone of dupes that I discover so that I'm ready to go when I can finally do a video like this. So if you enjoy this style or format of a video, please give it a thumbs up so that I know I will continue to do them in this format. Other than that, I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you will check out my other videos that I have, my last dupe videos that I did, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.